Hello, cadets, and welcome back to our series where we are making you the best cadet you can be. Today, we are going to be going over 201 files and the Form 13. So again, we're just going to be going over basics on how to fill them out and what they are. So I'm going to show you guys how to find them on the website here. So I know a lot of you guys, especially like me, if you are a veteran cadet, are all trying to get used to this new website. So we are going to go through a step-by-step of how to get there. So first of all, you're going to go into your documents and you're going to go into regulations. And in the regulations, you are going to be able to find everything you need to know. And in your regulations, you can open up CR 1, which is general administration, and it has everything you need to know as far as Form 13s and 201 files and everything you need to find there. And for your forms, to actually find a Form 13 to fill out, you're going to go into Forms and scroll down to the Form 13, as you can see right here. It is in the Word form. So when you open it up, it's going to actually open it up like this. And so what you're going to have to do is download it as a PDF. And what I had to do is download it into my Google Drive and upload it into DocHub so that we can edit it. I'm going to be editing a fake one today just so you guys get an idea of how to fill one out. 201 file is going to be a little bit more different because it's not exactly something you always fill out online, especially with my home unit. We fill those out in person. But we're going to be going over all of the basics on how to fill out your 201 file and your Form 13. Let's get started. So if we are looking here, this is a Form 13. So basically, this is going to be your cadet service record, which has all of the information pertaining to a specific cadet, from their name to their address to their rank and all of the awards they've gotten, their physical fitness, rifle qualifications, and duty assignments. So basically, for those of you who don't know, this is your entire service record and all of the information that pertains to you as a cadet. This is vital on updating and keeping on track of all of the things that you have. That way, when you go to apply for different higher promotions or even for positions within your battalion unit, your battalion, your brigade, or even the state 10th Corps, it is extremely important that all of these files are updated so that way you can give an accurate representation of all of your accomplishments as a cadet. Okay, so if we're talking about Cadet Smith here, we would fill in his last name and first name based off of his records, which would be in all capitals. And for the middle initial, if his middle initial starts with an A, for example, it was Adam, we would put A. But if the cadet does not have a middle initial, the correct way to fill out a Form 13 and have it indicated that he has no middle initial, we would put NMM, which represents no middle initial. Okay, so for example, we have Cadet Smith here, whose date of birth in this example is going to be January 1st, 2025. So for entering your date of birth in any Cadet Corps form, it will usually be in the format of day, month, year, using the 2-letter date, the 3-letter abbreviation of the month, and the 2-number year. I apologize. So for this example of January 1st, 2025, the date of birth would be 01JAN in all capitals 25. So in point 5, as it references in regulations, it is the gender section of the regulations. Now, according to Cadet Corps regulations, you are to enter male or female, though I am aware some units allow for a cadet to enter other. According to regulations, there is only 2 genders that you can place into this record, so we would put either male or female. So for this example, we are going to put male because Cadet Smith is a male. So when we get to the 0.7 and 0.8, I apologize, 0.6 and 0.7 of the Form 13, it is your home address and your mailing address. So in this example, I used a obviously made up address, so you would put your home address. This cannot be a P.O. box. We will get to that in just a second. If you get mail in a different location than your home address, that's going to be a little bit different, but you will put your home address in your home address. So for example, it is 1234 Imaginary Street, California, and I'm using the Victorville zip code, which is 92392, which will be pertaining to your individual home address. Once we get to the mailing address, then that will be the section where if you receive mail in a location different than your home address, you would enter that P.O. box or other location. That would include, again, your city, state, and 9-digit zip code. 5-digit zip code, I apologize. And if you do not have a separate mailing address, then your home address, you would type in none as shown on screen. For this example, in this Form 13 that I'm using, the enrolled in section is going to be for my home unit, the 276th Battalion University Preparatory. So when you're putting your enrolled in, you will be putting your 3-digit unit number followed by the school name. Now, if your unit has more than one company, you would place the company inside of this as well. However, my unit does not have companies, so we will just put 276 UP. Now, if your high school name is really long, abbreviations are necessary. For example, my school is University Preparatory School, so we just put UP and it shortens it. This is allowed in regs. Now, for the dates, what you will do is you will place the first date that you were enrolled in Cadet Corps at that specific school. You would do, the 2-digit day followed by the 3-letter month followed by the 2-digit year. So for this example, we're saying the 1st of August, 2025. Now, if you were in Cadet Corps for multiple years, but you switch schools, let's say you're going from a middle school to a high school and you're staying in the program, that is where you would add an extra enrolled in these separate sections and include the dates of that you are enrolled in that specific unit. Now, if you are enrolled in more than 3 units during your years in Cadet Corps, that would mean that you would have to start a second Form 13. Now, this is a special case, and most people don't have to do this, but in the case that this does happen, it is important that you are informed, or if somebody comes to your unit that has had more than 3 previous locations, it is important to know that you would have to start a additional Form 13 for that cadet. So in the phone section, you would be typing in the phone number, including the area code. In this example, I typed in 2 completely random numbers. So please be aware that if you have a separate phone that you can be contacted at, for example, a home phone and a cell phone, you would type in those 2 separate numbers, making sure to include that area code. So in your email address, you are to type in your complete email address that you can be contacted at. Now, the regulations do not state whether or not this has to be your school or personal email. Every unit has its own personal preferences. For example, in my unit, we have our cadets put their school email just because it is easier to contact them during school hours using that email, especially if it is something urgent. It is the most likely way for us to get into contact with them, but you should check in with your commandant or your S1 to know exactly which email address you should be using. When it comes to appointments and reductions, in the grade, you would put the rank that you have been promoted/demoted to. For example, in this cadet's service record, we are putting their promotions all the way from recruit to cadet corporal. So for the authority number, this will be the number at the top of the order written by your S1. So for example, it will always be in the format of brigade, battalion, or if the example we are talking about a 10th Corps order, it will be that number. So for example, my home unit is 276, so it will always start with 276 when it is referring to a battalion level promotion order, followed by the fiscal year or the school year, which in this example is 25-26, and then followed by the order number of that year. For example, in each of these examples, it would be for the recruit promotion, it would be the first order written by the 276th Battalion during the 25-26 school year, and so on and so forth. All of these dates have been abbreviated in the exact same way we've talked about in the past. Now, obviously, these dates are not in accordance with any of the other regulations about time and grade. Please talk to your commandants if you want to know more about that, or check out my other video regarding promotions and appointments. These are completely made up and just for the purpose of filling out a Form 13. For your rewards and decorations, it is going to be very similar to the way that we filled out your appointments and reductions. Essentially, what you're doing is the type of awards and decoration will be the type of ribbon you received. So, for example, in this one, we were talking about the School Service Award. Now, there are a bunch of abbreviations, and if you guys want to look more into that, I will link in the description the regulation that has all of the abbreviations of each award listed, and in this example, the authority is again 276, the 25-26 school year, the 5th order being written. Now, if you guys have any questions finding any of the orders pertaining to any of the ribbons you have, please contact your S1 and they will help you find that order and help you fill in your Form 13 if you have any questions about it. The date is again abbreviated in the same format that we have done all the other dates on the Form 13. So when we were talking about the physical fitness qualification in the Form 13, if it is taken over multiple days, let's say you started December 31st and then you finished on January 1st, for example, you would put the last date that the physical fitness was administered. And for each of these sections, you will denote either Y or N, which signifies whether or not you passed the physical fitness requirement for your standards specifically. Now, you can find these. These will be linked in the description for any of you guys who have more questions on that. But each time you pass or fail, it will be noted with Y for yes, you passed, or N for no, you did not pass. Now, there are a couple of ones that are a little different. For example, the shoulder stretch, it is denoted with P or F for passed or failed. And at the very end, it will say met minimum requirements, which will be denoted in all capitals, either yes or no. When filling out the rifle qualification section of the Form 13, you will enter the date, as we have previously stated in every other section, the score, which will be the points earned out of possible points total. So in this example, this cadet scored 199 out of 200 possible points. And for the qualifications, it will be denoted as, for example, if you are qualifying with 22s, it would be 22 with a colon, and then denoting each specific one you can get. So marksman, sharpshooter, expert, or familiarization if the cadet did not qualify. Now, each of those abbreviations will be shown on screen for you guys to see how each of those will be abbreviated, and in the description I will have linked each of the necessary requirements to be qualified for each level of qualifications. Now, if you qualify with an air rifle, it will be denoted as capital air, and then a colon with the qualification level stated. When talking about the duty assignments section of the Form 13, we would do the effective date, which is the date that is listed on the order written for each duty assignment. So in this example, we are again abbreviating with the same abbreviations we've been using the entire time. For the principal duty, you can put any position from squad member, squad leader, S3, battalion S3, but these can also include other things such as color guard commander or commander of the flag detail. And this is also possible to put the course grade. So for example, if you are enrolled in second semester of Cadet Corps, your commandant can put your course grade for your second semester and listed under the efficiency. Now, under the efficiency, you are graded on the A through F scale, which is the typical scale that grading systems are used in high schools. So most of you guys are familiar with this scale, but those of you who aren't, there will be kind of a brief description in the description box if you want to check that out. Now, when it comes to pluses or minuses, so like an A plus and A minus, it is at the discretion of the grader. Now, when it comes to the graders, it can either be your commandant of cadets or the next highest cadet leader. For example, if you are the S3, then the next highest cadet leader on your chain of command would be your executive officer. Now, for this last section of the Form 13, this could either be used upon the discharge of a cadet or in the necessary event where a cadet needs a true validated copy of the Form 13. So, for example, when you're applying, at least in 18th Brigade, when you are applying to brigade staff, it is necessary that you have a true copy of your Form 13. So, in this example, we are just going to say that this copy was provided on July 1st of 2026, which is stated right here. Again, in the abbreviation we have used this entire time. And you will put the rank abbreviated, so corporal is C/CPL, and then the name of the cadet. Now, if the cadet has a middle initial, you would put that between the first and last name. The two dates here are to represent the dates that the cadet served in Cadet Corps. So in this example, this cadet only served one school year from the 1st of August 2025 to the 1st of June 2026, and it will be signed by the Commandant of Cadets right here. Now, this is a made-up name that is given in the regulations, so it would be filled out by your specific Commandant. And this discharge certificate and service credit memorandum was issued on, and then the date that it was issued, and then the CACC Human Resources Analyst or the HQ CACC S1 would sign that signature right there. For example, if you are requesting to get military credit due to your service in Cadet Corps, I know the Army National Guard is just adding into their regulations that they are going to give cadets service credit for being in Cadet Corps for a year. I believe you can enlist as an E2 straight out, and if you've been in Cadet Corps for more than 2 years, you can enlist straight off the bat as an E3. So that's really amazing to see that our cadets are getting such amazing opportunities from the service branches and getting recognized for all of their hard work. So this concludes our section of filling out a Form 13. If you have any further questions, feel free to leave them in the comments or ask your commandant or Battalion S1 if they have any questions about it. Now we're going to move on to the 201 files. So now we are going to get into how to fill out and complete a 201 file. So a 201 file, as stated in regs, should be a file something similar to this. I will have the name placed on the screen as I don't exactly remember it in the current moment, but it should comply with the standards of these. These are just examples you can find on Amazon, Google, anywhere else. So this is going to be how to organize your 201 file. Now, I know this can be a lot to read, so if you would like to pause and read along, you may, but I will be summarizing it. So when you open your 201 file, on the left, it will have all of the orders pertaining to the cadet with the most recent on top. So if it is a promotion order or a permanent order or anything of the like, it will be on the left. Now, on the front side of the inserted card stock tab, it will store all copies of promotion test results, so any PTAs or any board grading sheets, your fitness test results, so if you took a physical fitness test, those score sheets would be on there, and your marksmanship qualifications would also be listed in that section. So it should also store copies of supporting documentations for ribbons and awards, along with other miscellaneous papers deemed appropriate for the 201 file. So basically, this will have uniform inspections or academic grade reports. It can also have community service records, your flag detail, your duty rosters, and other academic work. So any of the worksheets you guys do in class or any of the tests completed can also be put in your 201 file as examples of some of the documentation you have done in Cadet Corps. Now in Sections 4, it stores all of the permanent orders pertaining to the cadet in section, which will be to the back as you open it with the most recent order on top. So any permanent order, basically any of the ribbons and orders pertaining to that such will be listed in the section, and the Form 13 will be placed between sections 1 and 2 of the classification folder. Now, that is all for this video. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you have anything to add on, also feel free to comment. Reach out to me. Let me know what you guys would like to see next. I will be posting more videos like this. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Reach out in my comment section or go through your commandants and please ask questions. I encourage all of you to strive to be the best cadets you can be, and that is all.